Greetings to all my tech heads out there in the KevTechify nation, and if you're new here, welcome. In this episode, we're going to look at network security testing techniques. We'll be discussing operation security, testing and evaluating network security, types of network tests, and applying network test results. This episode is part of my series on network security for the CCNA. I'm Kevin here at KevTechify. Let's get this adventure started. Operations security starts with planning and implementation process of a network. During these phases, the operations team analyzes designs, identifies risks and vulnerabilities, and makes the necessary adaptations. The actual operational task begins after the network is set up and include the continual maintenance of the environment. Some security testing techniques are predominantly manual, and others are highly automated. Regardless of the type of testing, the staff that sets up and conducts the security testing should have significantly security and networking knowledge in several areas. These areas include device hardening, firewalls, intrusion prevention system, operating systems, including Mac and Linux. And if you're running any special embedded operating systems, you should have some knowledge about that. Basic programming skills to understand different languages. If you have to pick one, Python is pretty much one that you should know nowadays. Another one is the different networking protocols such as TCP, IP. And finally, you should have an idea of network vulnerabilities and risk mitigation. During the implementation stage, security testing is conducted on specific parts of a network. After a network is fully integrated and operational, the security testing and evaluation, which is typically referred to ST&E, this is performed. Now, the ST&E is an examination of the protective measures that are in place on an operational network. The objectives of security testing and evaluation basically kind of fall into three areas. First one is to uncover design, implementation, and operational flaws that could lead to the violation of the security policy. Second one is to determine the adequacy of security mechanisms, assurances, and devices to enforce the security policy. And the third one is to assess the degree of consistency between the system documentation and its implementation. Tests should be repeated periodically and whenever a change is made to your system. After a network is operational, ascertain its security status. Many security tests can be conducted to assess the operational status of a network. Here are some of the tests. First one you can do is penetration testing, also known as pen testing. This simulates attacks to determine the feasibility of an attack and possible consequences if one of these attacks were to occur. Next one is network scanning. This includes software that can ping computers, scan for listening TCP ports, and display which type of resources are available on your network. Vulnerability scanning detects potential weaknesses in your tested systems. Password cracking tests and detects weak passwords that should be changed. Log review. What happens here is you can filter and review security logs to detect abnormal activity. This typically, you can do it manually, but a lot of times using some sort of aggregation program or process to pull your logs together and then go through and parse them for you. So that way you can see the important things when they pop up, if there's any errors or warnings that would pop up. Next one is integrity checks. This detects and reports changes in your system. So if your systems have any changes or something like that, you can be notified by that one. And the last one here is virus detection. It detects and removes computer viruses and other malware. Network security testing results can be used in several ways. One of them here is to define mitigation activities to address vulnerabilities. Another one here is as a benchmark to trace the progress of an organization in meeting security requirements. Next one is to assess the implementation status of security or system security requirements. Then we can go on to conduct cost and benefit analysis for improvements to network security. We can also use it to enhance other activities such as risk assessments, certification and authorization, and performance improvement efforts. And finally, just is a good reference point to see what changes are happening in the future. It was my pleasure to provide you with this wonderful episode on network security testing techniques. If you like this episode and you got value out of it, please click that like button, give a 5-star rating, leave a comment. This all helps me bring you more great content. Please take a minute to subscribe to my channel. All my socials and contact information are on my website, KevTechify.com. There you can find out how to get all these episodes in video and podcast form. In the upper right is my playlist for my series on network security for the CCNA. In the bottom right is one of my favorite videos that I linked just for you. Thank you so much for watching this episode of my series on network security for the CCNA. Once again, I'm Kevin. This is KevTechify. I'll see you next time for another great adventure.